So you want to buy a new construction home, but there are so many different products out there to choose from, you don't know which one is right for you. Well, not every new construction home is created equal, and not every new construction home is for everyone. So in this video, I'm going to be breaking down the 4 types of new construction homes and the pros and cons of each so that you can make an educated decision when it comes time for you to buy your home. First, let's talk about custom homes. So, of course, custom homes are just what they sound like. They're customized to the buyer or the person who's building the home. You will meet with a builder first, and then an architect to plan out the floor plans, and you will work with engineers to create that floor plan and make that dream into a reality. And then there will be several other engineers or planners that you have to work with to make everything come together. Now, this type of home is definitely for the person who knows exactly what they want and wants to build it within a community where there are only or some custom home lots, or in an area where they can purchase a lot and just build on their own. Remember, just because you're building a custom home doesn't necessarily mean you're building a luxury home, because I've seen custom homes built that are more like ranch style homes that are rather basic. They're nice inside, but they don't have all of the bells and whistles that you see in like a luxury custom home, or even the finishes. So just because it's a custom home doesn't mean it's necessarily luxury, but it is for someone who wants to make their entire floor plan and create everything from scratch. Some custom builders do have a library of very basic floor plans just to kind of get you started. They are not to necessarily take over that floor plan, because that would be more of what I'm going to talk to you about next, which is a semi-custom home. But just to kind of give you an idea, because a lot of times the first time you walk into a custom home builder's office, especially if it's your first custom home, you have no idea where to begin. But my advice to you would be try to take all the floor plans you've loved so much and create it into one nice floor plan. So let's talk about the pros of building a custom home. The first pro is that you get complete customization of this home. You get to design, not even choose, your floor plan. You can design how the windows are put into your home, how much sun exposure your home is getting, what kind of exposure it is to any kind of views you may have to take advantage of. You get to completely build your home around your lifestyle and needs. The second pro to building a custom home would be that you have complete flexibility in how you want your home to turn out. This is where you see people being able to add flex rooms, specific rooms such as wine rooms or gyms, and something I've even taken advantage of when I've built my custom homes is future use of spaces. Let me give you an example. So in my first custom home I built, I had a flex space that could be used as a second primary bedroom that was downstairs in case someone who purchased the home from me would ever have maybe an elderly parent, or someone was sick or had an injury and couldn't go up and down the stairs. They could convert that room into a second primary. But I used it as my home gym and wellness room. So these are things that a lot of people are doing when they're building a custom home, because they can foresee how they want to use that space in the future. I've seen people do things such as dual offices, like I mentioned, wine rooms, wellness rooms, and we are in Vegas, so we do get recording studios, and every now and then we can find a bowling alley or an indoor basketball court too. Another benefit to building a custom home is the quality of craftsmanship. Of course, when you're paying a higher dollar, your trades are going to be selected not on how quickly they can complete the job, but more on their craftsmanship and skill that they have. Also, your project is generally managed and supervised on a much higher level. When I've built my homes in the past, I would see my GC or project manager on site several times a day. Every couple hours, they come to check to be sure things are going well. Why? Because when you're dealing with high-end finishes or trade work, if one mistake is made and it's not caught, and then another mistake and another mistake, that can be very costly in time to undo everything and redo everything. That can sometimes add even months to the schedule of build. There's also a sense of accomplishment when your project is done. I want to say that is probably the biggest plus to building a custom home, besides the fact that you can pick everything, but that's the reason why you're so satisfied at the end. You move into this house, it really does become a turnkey home for you because you've spent so much time working on every detail and its perfection. I've built tract homes in the past, but nothing compares to the satisfaction you feel once your custom home is complete and those keys are turned over to you. For every pro to building a custom home, there's got to be a con, right? So let's talk a little bit about the cons. Hiring those better trades definitely comes with a dollar figure. So I would say the first con to building a custom home is the cost to build and plan. Because not only are you paying for the construction, the labor, and the materials, but remember, you're paying for all of the planning ahead. Those things are already taken care of when you buy a tract home. So it's something to add to the cost in custom homes. Architecture plans and structural engineering all cost money, and then you also have to submit all those plans to the county, and there's a cost for all of that. So custom homes definitely cost more money than the average home. Another con is time. It takes much more time to build a custom home for obvious reasons. You've got the planning phase, you need to get approval from the county and the building departments, and then also there are unforeseen changes because when you're building a custom home, sometimes when they go to actually put everything together, there might be a little hiccup and there has to be a change made on the spot. So this can add some time. And then also, we as homeowners that are trying to build a custom home specifically to meet our wants and needs, well, we like to make changes along the way that end up costing us time. So it does take a lot longer to build a custom home. For example, when I mentioned unforeseen challenges, when I was building my home, we were digging the pool of all things and ran into, not caliche, which is very popular out here, we actually ran into giant granite boulders. And one of them was as big as a Volkswagen Bug. So that took a lot of extra time that we didn't expect to have to take just to break the rock up and finish digging the pool. I know this isn't constructing the home, but when you're building a custom home, you generally have your entire landscape done, front yard and backyard, alongside of the house being built. Like I said, it creates a complete turnkey move-in process for you. But that's an example of an unforeseen challenge that ended up taking a lot of extra time and money as well. There's also another factor that I don't think a lot of people think about when the excitement of building a custom home begins, and that is how stressful it is. It sounds like it would be a lot of fun picking everything, But those things get very overwhelming. You don't realize, you think you're picking carpet and tile and a bathroom tile, but no, you are picking everything. Your address sign, your coach lights, what kind of recessed lighting fixtures you want, your doorknobs, everything, cabinet handles. There are just so many decisions to make. And usually you're building this home with your significant other and you don't always agree on everything, so that can be a problem. And as the project progresses, you're going to want to be on site on a regular basis, checking and making sure that things are being installed correctly, or the correct materials are being installed in the right places, because mistakes do happen. And you're doing all of this while still trying to maintain your regular life, work, school, kids, vacations, graduations, kids going off to college, you name it. But it is very stressful. So it is a downside, and it's something to really consider before deciding that custom home building is for you. And another pitfall to custom home building is challenges with design and floor plan. So when you go to a builder and you look at their model homes and you're going to purchase a model home, each one of those floor plans have been tested and tried many times over, and those builders know that their floor plans work. Well, when you're making your own floor plan, you've never designed a home. So a lot of us regular people don't really understand what it takes to make a floor plan flow continuously. A lot of times I've seen a lot of odd custom home floor plans do come up with some design challenges. And sometimes you don't exactly get exactly what you want because it just doesn't flow right with the engineering of the home. And if your engineer is able to make your design work within the home, you need to decide whether it's cost effective for you or not, or if you're just willing to spend the money. Sometimes some of these really large, expansive spaces require things like steel beams or extra headers, and that can end up getting very costly, so you have to weigh out whether it's worth it to you or not. The next kind of home I want to talk about is the semi-custom home. So these homes are generally a set floor plan with minimal structural changes that you can make, while you can still choose things such as your finishes and materials inside the home. But generally speaking, a semi-custom home will be a set floor plan where you might be able to add a flex living space or make a great room bigger by eliminating an office or something of that nature. But that's what makes a semi-custom home a semi-custom home. So let's get into the pros and cons of this. Just like a custom home, semi-custom homes pro is you get to customize it to your needs. Although it's not as customizable as a custom home, like I said, you can change things like an office into a flex living space, or maybe a great room into a larger great room by eliminating an office or a dining room or something of that nature. But you can make some changes to the structural component of the house. So on that note, let's talk about the cost savings in building a semi-custom home versus a custom home. Even though you're able to customize some of the features, the majority of it is still planned out in a planned neighborhood. So it makes everything less expensive. Your builder is purchasing all of the lumber in large quantities for that neighborhood. He's purchasing all the toilets in large quantities. So that's where the cost savings comes in, but yet you're still able to pay a little bit extra to get the small changes interior-wise that you're looking for. So as your builder is purchasing all of the building materials in bulk for their project, that also helps you with the efficiency of the build process, because everything's been pre-ordered and already on its way. versus you designing your home and then something being ordered just for your project. The last pro to building a semi-custom home is having the builder's experience and knowledge. Like I said earlier, they have tried and tested out their floor plans, and they also have experience in building your home. So they know how to get it done the most efficient and smooth way possible. So of course there are some cons to building a semi-custom home. One of them is you have less customization options. Clearly, that's why it's not a custom home. But some people get frustrated because there are limited changes you can make in a custom home, and that can get frustrating to some. There are also going to be design constraints when building a semi-custom home. And this is because builders have very set floor plans and very set changes you can make to those floor plans. So if you find yourself at a semi-custom home builder and you start getting frustrated because the very specific things that you want and need in your home are not possible, a semi-custom home may not be right for you, and you may want to start exploring the options of building a custom home. And in a world of wanting to be unique and everyone being a person of their own, the downside to building a semi-custom home is that you will not have a unique home. It may be unique inside, but that curb appeal that people always talk about, that they want to get, and they want their house to look very personal from the outside, that's not going to happen, because generally when you're in a semi-custom home development, they only offer 3 or 4 different exterior elevations, and the changes are generally on the interior, but the exterior will pretty much look the same throughout your neighborhood. And the other thing is, when you do go to the design center and it's time to pick your flooring options or your backsplash and your kitchen appliances, you are limited to what the builder offers. Whereas when you're building a custom home, you get to buy or choose whatever you want to put into that home. So this can also be a downside, and I've seen people change from semi-custom to custom because of these last 2 cons. Just not being able to move the walls interiorly to make the house what they need, and also because they're so limited on design center options. If you're new here, hi, I'm Lisa Lopez. I was born and raised in Las Vegas, and I'm a real estate consultant that specializes in luxury real estate. If you need any help with your real estate journey, I'd love to help you. Please text me, call me, or email me anytime. My information is in the description. And don't forget to like and subscribe so you can see all of my videos that I drop. Okay, let's get back to those new builds. So the next type of home we're going to talk about is a tract home. A tract home is known as a production home as well, and it's what most of Las Vegas single-family residential homes are. And it's probably what most people are most familiar with. These homes normally feature a few floor plans with a few exterior elevations to choose from. But for the most part, they're built in large quantities at one time, and they're also known or referred to as cookie cutter homes because a lot of times, even on the interior, there are very few design options to choose from. Tract homes are the most affordable home in comparison to semi-custom and custom homes because these homes are built in large quantities and are very budget friendly for buyers. So for those of you who are looking for the most cost-effective solution, a tract home is probably the best for you. They also are built much faster, and this is because the standard finishes are generally easier to obtain because they are made in larger quantities and they're less specific or rare. And they're also building the similar design repeatedly, which makes it a much faster build process for all of your trades that are doing the labor on the home. So this can be an advantage to the buyer because if you're on any kind of time constraints or have a specific move-in deadline, you can pretty much be assured that if they tell you it's going to be ready in September, it's going to be ready in September. Every now and then they're 30 to 60 days late, but very rarely, because a lot of these homes, like I said, they're built one after the other, and your trades are so used to building them, it's like building them in their sleep. Living in a tract home means you're probably going to be in a neighborhood, and those neighborhoods are generally filled with good amenities and infrastructure, such as clubhouses, parks, grocery stores, and schools as well. And there's a certain level of predictability when building a tract home. You as a buyer go visit a sales center, walk the models, see exactly what your house is going to look like when it's completed. You get to go to a design center. You have very few options. So not enough, but you have way less options than when you're looking at semi-custom or custom builds, which makes the process a lot easier and quicker for you. So there's a lot of predictability in how the transaction is going to run. And like I said, their build times are generally pretty spot on. And since the builder is building so many of this same home, there are less surprises and problems when building that can arise because everything is well planned out. Of course, there's a downside to building a tract home, and that is you can't customize anything. Generally, when you walk into a tract home, what you see is what you get, other than your materials that you're choosing for flooring and maybe your appliances as well. And because there are only so many exterior elevations available or options to make structural changes, you may notice that there is a similarity amongst all the homes in your neighborhood. Sometimes some people don't mind this, other times they do, and if you're one of them that does, building a tract home might not be the best solution for you, and you might want to look into the semi-custom or custom route. I'm sure you've heard some rumors that circle about tract home builders having poor quality in their building process. This can be true from builder to builder. You might see some variations because, again, they are using the most economical trades and materials to build those homes, and they want to get them done as quick as possible. This is how they make money. So that's also why it's so important to bring an agent with you, because your agent can help represent you and protect you from any kind of shortcuts that your builder might be taking. But it is really important for you as a buyer to research builders and developers, especially when looking at a tract home, because they do this so much that a lot of buyers just automatically put their trust in them, which I suggest you do all of your research. Look at their complaints, look at how they resolve their complaints, and how long it takes them to resolve their complaints. And then you will also have limited location choices. Of course, there are some tract homes that are built along the mountainside with some of the best views, but if you're looking for a tract home and you are wanting a very specific location, you might have to compromise because maybe the model that you really want might only be built on one side of town or the other. So you might have to compromise on your location. So which type of home do you like so far? Custom, semi-custom, tract home? Let me know in the comments. And if you like any information on specific builders, make sure you reach out to me. My information is in the description. So let's move on to the fourth type of home that you can purchase, and that is a spec home. So a spec home is a home that builders build with the hopes and expectation that a buyer will come in and purchase. Generally, builders start building spec homes when their neighborhood is pretty much complete and they only have a few lots remaining. Sometimes buyers can actually purchase a spec home with enough time to choose the design selections inside. And that's always a bonus because your buyer is getting a home that's going to be completed faster, yet they still get to choose some of the things inside of it. Sometimes buyers can find a spec home that was just completed, which is a bonus because it's move-in ready, which makes buying a spec home perfect for someone who has very tight time constraints on how quickly they need to move in. And a lot of times those buyers can take advantage of professionally designed interiors, because builders don't send a salesperson to go pick out all of the interior finishes. They actually send a professional interior designer. So the buyer gets to take advantage of having professionally designed services without having to pay for them. Builders also usually price their spec homes better than most homes. This is because they want to get it off their hands. So buyers get to take advantage of sometimes lower prices, but a lot of times there are other incentives, such as appliance packages or landscape packages that the builder will throw in. Sometimes even money towards your closing costs. So spec homes can definitely be more economical for the buyer too. While building a custom home or a semi-custom home can be super stressful, so can building a tract home, because there are still so many choices to be made. So when purchasing a spec home, all that stress is taken off of you because the decisions have already been made, and you as the buyer can just sign papers, pay your money, get your keys, and start enjoying your new home without all of the added stresses that building can bring. So the downsides to purchasing a spec home would of course be limited to no customization at all, being that it could be a turnkey ready home. You might not be able to pick anything at all. Which leads me to my second con about buying a spec home, and that is where you as the buyer have very little input on the finished product of your home. As with tract homes, spec homes are the same. There could be limited locations where you can actually purchase, especially when buying a spec home, because not every community offers spec homes. So if you're trying to shop specifically for spec homes, you're going to be very limited on which neighborhoods you can purchase in. This can be a disadvantage, especially if location is important to you. And because you have so little input in the design of your home, it could lead to unsuitable design features or floor plans within the house. Spec homes aren't built with a specific buyer in mind, so sometimes there are challenges that buyers find once moving in and living about the home. So I suggest you really spend the time and make sure that that home is going to be right for you. I hope you found this video informational. For more videos like this, make sure you like and subscribe and hit the bell so you get notified each time I drop a new video. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.